I'm Aaron Block. I'm the managing director and co-founder of MetaProp NYC. We are the #1 PropTech investor in the world. We've done more than 65 investments in early stage, next generation property technology companies, primarily in North America, but increasingly abroad internationally. We run the top accelerator program in the world for early stage real estate technology companies, which is a 22-week program based in New York City. And we also just announced a partnership with Columbia University to run a first of its kind pre-accelerator program for the earliest ideas in PropTech. Not yet companies, not yet ready to grow, but needing to germinate and get access from relationships and technologies across the institutional spectrum within the university. And third, we advise large real estate corporates on innovation strategy. We do things like market scans, we do ideation and innovation workshops with key executives, all in an effort to help move those larger legacy real estate organizations into the 21st century and allow them to engage with the next generation of PropTech. Well, if you look at PropTech today, we very much think it is where financial services technology, or FinTech, was 7 years ago. So if you went back 7 years ago and said you shouldn't do FinTech, it's nothing yet, it's not interesting, it's not important, there's no money to make, there's no big hard problems to solve, you would probably be very upset now that you weren't in one of the online lenders or one of the online mortgage companies or any of the other plethora of FinTech companies who have done very, very well, making millions, in some cases billions of dollars. So I think it's naive to think that a $40 trillion asset class like real estate will not be evolving from a technology perspective. One thing I would say though, if you don't come from the real estate background and you want to do a real estate prop tech startup, should really think about surrounding yourself with some real estate specialists. Real estate in some ways is like a foreign language, or like sailing, where you have different words that mean different things to different people, different acronyms. These are things that take years to really absorb and understand, and it's still a relationship business. So most of the successful startups we see have some element of superstar technology, of course, but also an element of real estate expertise within a founding team. We've done both. We've invested in companies from abroad and have them flip into US corporations. We've also invested in one European company only a few weeks ago. So we're really flexible. We prefer to do deals closer to home where we can have as much influence as possible, but we're open to any idea for the right technologists solving the right problem with the right technology. We're open to anything. I think one place where you'd really like to see more development is in the use of robotics and automation, particularly around drones. Currently, drones in real estate are mostly being used for site tours and overviews for marketing materials, but they can also be used to improve the building operations by doing roofing, facade inspections, inventorying, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment on top of buildings, and many other uses. That's a really exciting, believable today, applicable today and tomorrow technology that you don't see much of, Alex. Another area we really like to think about is the activation of space that is underutilized. If you think of the Uberization of property, it is something we believe in very much. Of course, everyone's heard of WeWork out of the United States, now internationally known and growing very, very quickly. That's one way to solve the activation of space issue, but there are other ways. We're invested in a company called Flip that creates a lease marketplace, freely trading leases that act more like a commodity where you can move in and out as necessary, both solving the same pain point in real estate, that people who occupy want flexibility and are willing to pay for that, but solving it from an asset heavy or asset light different perspective. We really like that space and we've bet very heavily on that space. And also, most importantly, anything that impacts the net operating income of a building is a space we really like. If there is a technology, usually this is around what we call basement tech, technologies that are actually affecting the operation of the building, that a building manager, a building owner, an asset manager, a portfolio manager might install if it's an IoT or hardware solution, and or software that they can deploy enterprise-wide or on a specific asset that will actually reduce costs in the short run or increase revenue is really interesting to us at that asset level, because that's what real estate people get. They get money, they get bottom line, things that they can apply a cap rate to and make lots more money. We love that. No, there's two things. First of all, we need more investment into this space. It is one of the last frontiers from a venture capital and investment perspective. Real estate has been relatively untouched. So there's plenty of room for a number of winners, of people who want to deploy capital at the early stage of growth of this market. I encourage everybody who wants to spend the time to do it to jump in with 2 feet. It's always best to invest when there is uncertainty, and we're coming toward the end of the period of uncertainty. So it's a very good time to deploy capital here, and an exciting time to deploy capital. One thing that we're really good at is dealing with the earliest stage PropTech companies. I'm very confident that most people do not have the expertise, nor the patience, nor the bandwidth or strength of experience to be able to put into managing this early stage, new entrepreneur, latest next generation technology world. It's a real dog and horse race. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of training and a lot of smart people to be really good at it, and we really make sure that we're the ones who own this space, and I believe we will for a long, long time. It really depends on what your perspective is. If you are a financial investor, if you're someone who's looking for financial returns of 3 or 4 or 5x on your investment money, you could become a limited partner in a venture fund, one of ours. There's plenty of others that you could go to and get your traditional financial return, but you have to be willing to let go of your money for up to 10, 11, or 12 years before you might see all of the returns that you might expect from an alternative asset type and asset class like venture capital. Most people who are investing in the space, or at least increasing at an increasing rate from our perspective, are strategic investors. They're people whose core business is real estate and want to not just make money, but also benefit from the impact commercially of these new technologies, and that is a no-brainer. There's no problem if you invest a little bit of money and you wait 10 years for your return, if it increases your NOI by €1,000 or $10,000 or 100,000 pounds, you're going to be a very happy, very wealthy person because of that bet. So it really is an interesting time to come in with relatively low risk. Over time, investing will be harder. There will be more competition, as there should be. The startups will become more demanding as they get more sophisticated. So that's really the risk, is missing the window in a booming emerging market. And I think your markets, that's particularly understandable, right? When it's early, it's a great time to get in. Later on, it gets hairier, more competitive, and you need to have more expertise.